Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've just been driving around doing errands in my Bolta UV here, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on the Rivian R2 reveal and just what I thought about that. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments, and it would be great to know what other people think too. So I watched it a couple times, watched some other videos of other people who were there, and just other people's thoughts and comments on it as well. So figured I'd put mine out there, and hopefully you guys will comment and tell me what you think as well. Overall, I thought it was great, but I'll start with my biggest negative first. And my biggest negative is 2026. 2026 is when they hope to start delivering these things, and probably first part of the year, but I wouldn't say right off the bat 2026. And I think that's a negative, mostly because we've got the rest of 2024, so almost all of 2024, all of 2025, and however long in 2026 if they deliver on time. And they said that's kind of like an accelerated path they took, using their current manufacturing site in Illinois. So that's accelerated, but a lot can happen in those 2 years. And right now, I mean, it looks like the R2 looks like a very compelling vehicle. But in 2 years, you have the Model Y refresh coming, probably next year. Kia, I think it's a mistake for them, but they're not going to sell the EV5 in the US in 2025, but maybe choose later. There's no word on that. I think they should. I think it's the EV9 seems to be doing really well. I think the EV5 would do even better because it's that same kind of market as the R2, that smaller SUV market that is very popular. But we'll see. There could be others that come out in the same space over the next 2 years. It will be a completely different landscape, and technology might even be getting better over the next 2 years. So we'll see if the R2 still matches up with other things that might come out. So that's my biggest negative. I'm hoping that they, say 2026 and have been conservative with that date, but actually start, manufacturing and actually delivering maybe the end of 2025, in that kind of winter period. That would be, I think, really amazing. That's my biggest negative. I don't have a lot of other negatives, really. Maybe the charge port location, but that can change between now and actual production. But really not a whole lot of other negatives. I think their CEO spoke really well, did a really good job presenting, did a really good job giving their vision and their overall view of what they want their company to be and what they want it to look like in the future. And he kept it short, wasn't overblown, and really had the products be the centerpiece and showcase them well. For me, I thought the R2 looked great. I think, obviously it looks like the R1S, but I thought the smaller form factor of it without that huge back end, I thought it looked even better. When he went inside, the inside looked nice and still premium, maybe not as premium, but still really premium. And I loved their two displays that they had. The infotainment and the information display looked really nice, upgraded a bit. Most of the upgrades happened. The really interesting thing was the new battery cell sizes. So that is cool, that it's not just an R1S shrunken. They actually have, new things going into it. I think a new drivetrain, the battery structure is different. So all of that's really good and promising. And I think the price is also a plus. Maybe. I think it's a plus with the tax incentive. Obviously, we still want price parity. We want, or at least I want, EVs to be at the same price as a comparative ICE vehicle. And when I saw the R2, the first thing that came to my mind was, the 4Runner. And I'm looking at a brand new, entry-level 4Runner. It's at 40, and you start scaling that up. You're getting up to 45 very quickly, with their different packages. So on looking at just those two, I am seeing price parity, especially since the entry level R2, if you get the full tax incentives, would be just below 40, which would be amazing. I'm not interested in the single motor. I would get the dual motor if I got one at all. It would definitely replace our van that we've had for 12 years. And my next vehicle, I would want it to be all-wheel drive. So the R2 is a very compelling vehicle to me. It's just the 2026 timeframe is pretty far out there. And a whole lot can happen in those 2 years. But back to price parity. Yes, it looks like it's getting closer, but at the same time, you look at certain all-wheel drive 3-row vehicles that are out there, and you can get, a very well-equipped Subaru Ascent 3 rows, Honda Pilot 3 rows, other 3 rows for under 40 as well starting. You equip it nicely like the Rivian is, and maybe not ever as nice as the Rivian is, but leather seating, all that stuff inside. And you're still only looking at like 44, 45 for a 3-row SUV all-wheel drive. So if you look at those two, not price parity isn't there. But if you look at something like the 4Runner and the R2, looks like we're getting closer. I think 45 is a great spot for them to start. I don't think that a lot of people will go with the single motor. I think a dual motor at minimum is what people really want. People really seem to like dual motor. I think it's interesting that Rivian went with the single motor at all, since they're the adventure brand. But dual motor, there was that leaked price, $47,500. Maybe that was the price for the dual motor. The other thing is, price is going to go up when you get the battery that they say can do the 300 miles. All of the products that they showed, they say they could do over 300 miles. Yes, they can, but with what battery? The lowest spec R2, I believe someone showed in one of their videos, is not a 300-mile range. It's 270. So when you spec up to the dual motor, is it automatically, spec'd with the bigger battery? Do you have to opt in for that? Do you have to pay for that? Those are just questions that will be answered later. But overall, I think the R2 looked great, very compelling. I think it's the size that most people want. If they really can live without a third row, that vehicle is going to compete with anything else out there. And I really hope it does. I really hope they're able to deliver on it and at that price, because I want Rivian to succeed. It's really nice to have another company that didn't start making ICE vehicles. They only started with EVs, and just like Tesla, and it would be great to have another Tesla out there. That's not Tesla, different products, Tesla, the Model Y, isn't an SUV. I know it has all-wheel drive and all that, but it still looks like a car, even though it pops up, the back opens differently and things like that. And don't get me wrong, the Model Y is also a very compelling EV at its price point. It's why it's the best-selling, car in the world. But you want a nice-looking actual SUV, and that's going to be where the R2 comes in, and I think it can compete really well in that market. And of course, we have to talk about the R3. I thought it was a great surprise, and good on Rivian for keeping it a secret, and not letting anything about it, literally nothing about it, leak. And that's amazing in this day and age, and it's great that they were able to do that, and you could tell people were genuinely surprised, which is great. And I think there's no date on it, which is still a negative. I wish they were a little further along. That'll probably start getting produced when their new factory is open. But another vehicle that can do really well in its class and in its market. To me, it looked like, I'm in a Bolt right now, so the R3 isn't as compelling to me as the R2 because I already have this car. But it would definitely be competitive against the new Bolt coming out, the Ultium. Looks around that size, around that kind of class that you'd want, but it's the Rivian with its software. GM's not going to have, Apple CarPlay to say, oh, look, this is what we have. So why get the new Bolt if the R3 is available? And we already know that Rivian software is really good, and is already proven, minus CarPlay, which, hey, already with Rivian, that's not happening, and GM got rid of it. So they can't, compare that or put that as a plus for them. But you've got the Bolt, the Ioniq 5. You could even say, throw the Kona in there. It is a class, I think, with more maybe competition. But in 2 years, or 2 years plus for that one, there could be even more. But the R3 looked good, I think, for people who want that more entry level vehicle into the EV world. Hey, if the R2's at 45, I mean, the R3 could start sub 40. And then and it's always a big if with the tax credit, but if you get the point of sale credit of 75 on top of that, you're looking at low 30s or maybe even sub 30s for an R3 entry level. At that point, it's like, why not? Okay, so why not? We still need to see more of the most important specs, right? And to me, that would be range, true range, over what they're saying, what it actually performs at, and even more important than that, I would say charging. Most people charge at home, I know, but charging when you do want to road trip it, because the R3 could be a car where a lot of people, that's their only car, even with the R2. What is not just the speed of the charge, but really more the curve. How fast can it charge and how long can it sustain it at the higher charging levels? They didn't mention anything about that, and I don't think anyone did. At least I didn't catch it in any videos out there. So if you know, please leave a comment. But that's really important, and I thought we would get something, at least with the R2, maybe not the R3. Charging max speed and kind of how the curve is. So, obviously for me, will it charge faster than my Bolt EUV? Yes. Would it be my road tripper? Yes. But to fully make a comfortable decision, I'd want to know that stuff before I say, yep, that's the car I want. And, that's the car I'm going to road trip in. I'd want to know what the curve is like and things like that. So, very compelling overall. Those are my thoughts. I thought they did a great job. It looked like a really fun event to be at. The products, I really hope Rivian can hold on and deliver and make these products. I think the R2 and the R3 will truly be what they said they want them to be, which is for the masses. I think, if Rivian can hold on, and I don't want them to get bought out. I don't want another company coming in and saying, okay, we own this company now, and these are the changes that are going to be made. I want Rivian to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, and I hope it's possible. That's the other negative of this product coming out in 2026. I don't know if they can hold on till then, but I sure hope they can, because these are some compelling EVs that they're putting out, and I really just kind of like their vision and what they want to do with their product, and that they deliver a quality product. So tell me what you guys think, and did you guys, anyone out there, seems like a lot of people were reserving for the R2, but maybe they canceled their reservations because they want to hold off and reserve an R3, or maybe they'll keep their reservation in place for the R2 and look for, when the R3 comes out and then cancel then. I'm undecided, but I really like the R2. A lot of people out there were very surprised by the R3, and most of the comments I saw were all about the R3 and how they really like that. For me, I'm all about the R2. If I got another car, it just looked so nice, and I think there's still room, obviously, for those 3-row vehicles. I just think they're priced out. The majority of people are priced out of that $75,000, $80,000 range. And so if they really need a 3-row, they're looking at the EV9, and the EV9 even reduced its price recently even more. So if you really need a 3-row, that's kind of where people are looking now versus Rivian's $80,000. So 3-row EV for me, probably out of the picture. And I don't think we'll need a 3-row anymore in the coming years. So we just need a all-wheel drive vehicle. Anyway, let me know if you've reserved. Let me know your comments, and we'll catch you later. Thank you. Hi, some bonus thoughts. Just got back from my Costco run, and I had just a couple more thoughts on, why some of the things that I liked. Just wanted to address the backsliding glass. I don't know why more SUVs don't do that. Not sure if the 4Runner does it. I think it does, but it's definitely a liked and needed feature. I think that, he mentioned surfboards and other things. I don't think skis were mentioned, but I could definitely see our family just, throwing a pair of skis back there or more instead of having a ski rack on the top. My wife's never liked ski racks for some reason, so we always used to just throw them in the van. And now it looks like their back seat can, any part of the three can fold down. So it looks like the middle section, instead of it being 1/3 or 2/3, all three can fold down, and the middle section could fold down, and you could put your skis there if you don't want them sticking out the back, and then boots in the front trunk or around it. So really, really practical having that back window be able to slide down. The side ones popping out seem a bit of a gimmick to me, but maybe people love that. I mean, might be nice actually if I have the dog back there. So just to be able to have those windows pop out, actually thinking about that right now off the cuff, popping them open for a dog would be nice. And then all the seats folding flat, that's pretty cool. Maybe there's another car out there. Leave a comment if you know of another car that does that. But that passenger, even if the front driver's seat didn't fold down, but the passenger seat folded all the way flat like that, that is great. Practical for just moving really long things. I remember, getting a bike in there, or just if you bought, a piece of furniture that's long, that would be really good to just put along the side there and have all the seats folded down if you don't have passengers in that moment. So not just, an around town, just get from place to place, mid-size SUV, but a really practical SUV that can help with errands, helping other people, moving stuff, getting up the mountain, getting to, getting all our toys where they need to be. Just looked really good. And as far as the R3, not as big, but probably just as practical in a city or for your everyday runner and running errands and groceries and things like that, the way that back hatch opens up and the different options of height levels you had with that. So Rivian's just doing some good stuff, and it looks like the price is right. And those are just my bonus final thoughts. All right. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment.